Here we have question 4. So we read, three resistors are connected in a series circuit to a 110 volt source. The first has a resistance of 100 ohms, the second passes a current of 0.25 amps, and the third has a voltage drop across it of 70 volts. So it's asking, what is the resistance of the second and third resistors? Draw the series circuit wiring diagram, which is always a good idea if we're given a word problem. So to start off, we have three resistors. So we draw it in. Here's our voltage source. We have 110 volts voltage source, R1, R2, and R3. R1 is 100 ohms. R2 we're given is 0.25 amps. And the voltage across R3 is 70 volts. So we're asked to find the resistance of the second and third resistors. So we put down all our known values. We have 110 volts. Our current is 0.25 amps at R2. And a voltage across R3 is 70 volts. And our resistance at R1 is 100 ohms. So that's our known values. Now we can use characteristics of a DC circuit. IT equals I1 equals I2 equals I3. So we know that these are all the same. From that we can use Ohm's law. Now we can solve R1, or we could solve for R3, we could solve the resistance, and we could also solve the total resistance. So we're asked to solve for the second and third resistors. So we could solve it this way and solve for R3. So R3 equals V3 divided by I3. R3 equals 110 volts divided by 0.25 amps, which equals 280 ohms. So we can write that in. Next, if we want to find our total resistance, again we can use that using Ohm's law. RT equals 110 volts divided by 0.25 amps. RT equals 440 ohms. Now we can find R2 by taking 440 ohms, subtract 280 ohms, subtract another 100 ohms. That would give us 60 ohms. So now we have solved the problem for R2 and R3. But to finish off our chart, we can find V1 by taking 0.25 amps times 100 ohms, and we find that V1 equals 25 volts. Now we can find R2 by taking 110 volts, subtracting 70 volts, subtracting 25 volts, equals 15 volts, and we have found everything we needed to know and more.